Hi. Uh, Being that I feel that this video I'm recording on is going to be removed because a blamer said at the UN while he was blaming a YouTube video that exposed Islam, called it was called the Innocence of Muslims, that was using the Hadith, Islamic sources actually, to show how Muhammad was. Well, a blamer said at the UN, make no mistake, there must be no future for those that would slander the Prophet of Islam. And slander the Prophet of Islam in Islam is doing what I'm doing, which is just exposing witches in the Quran. You know what I mean? And being the case, this video will probably be removed. So I'm doing this as a backup here, which I will be transferring to DVD and sending around if this is pulled off. If this is pulled off, I will do that. So just letting you know, if you yank this video, this is going to be manufactured, mass-produced, and it's going to be sent around to sleeper cells that will upload it to LiveLeak and other places. Since trouble is, they'll be pulled off too, but eventually, I'm pretty sure they'll be eventually pulled off. But someone might see them more than what this means seen now. So, again, if you pull this video off, I have a backup here, and I will transfer it to DVD. Part of a series I'm creating called Operation Monster Zero. Yeah. I've already made a couple of hundred of those things. Well, actually, it's 100, but I'll take them and spray them around Telegraph Avenue and Market Street in San Francisco. Okay, anyway, what I'm about to read to you is what I discovered from ISIS. A pretty girl. Now, you won't be able to see it, and I don't think, and I'm not going to play the, you're not going to see the stoning part, but it will be on this camera here. And you'll get to see the pretty girl. And she is stoned to death for committing, quote, adultery. More like it, she was raped. But in Islam, it takes 4 male witnesses to prove it was raped. To prove rape. You know? And she was, yeah. And she probably was raped because she's very attractive. And thing is, in Islam, you know, you can't. It's very hard to prove that you were raped if you're a woman. Very hard because of the 4 male witnesses. And if you commit adultery or are raped, even if you are raped as a woman, you're like untouchable, and your family disowns you, and you are pretty much killed anyway. So it's damned if you're damned if you're raped and damned if you're not, pretty much. And I think this girl was raped, but they made her believe that, I mean, it was adultery, and they stoned her to death. So anyway, I'll read what happens here. Okay. Now, you can't see this video on LiveLeak anymore. Can't see it on YouTube, but here, see this girl. See, there she is. Beautiful girl. That's her face. She looks like Snow White. And you want to know something? If you want to see this, where she's getting stoned to death, and her dad throws the first stone, go to Pamela Geller's Atlas Shrugged, and because it's up, and you can, as I'll play the video right now, and you can hear the Arabic as I play it. Okay. I'll read it to you. Yeah, here's beautiful girl, and she was stoned to death by her dad. Here she is. That's her dad. Putting the thing around her. And then there's the ISIS guy talking. And that's the dad right there. And here she is. And she pleads. She says, forgive me. And the dad says, I won't. Yeah. I'll read how it goes here. Okay. All right. See here. You are the first woman in this area on whom we are implementing the punishment of stoning for adultery. We hope this will serve the lesson for other women. And then he asks her, are you pleased with the punishment decreed by Allah? Good. I want to tell you something. James Foley became a Muslim and they still sawed his head off. Then the ISIS guy asks the dad to forgive her, and he says, no, I won't. I'm not your father anymore. The woman says, ask him to forgive me. Father, I won't. I am not your father anymore. Then the ISIS member says, okay, you are not her father anymore, but you can still forgive her. And the woman says, forgive me, Father. No. And the ISIS member says, she'll be delivered to Allah anyway. Then the father says, there is no God in the heavens. Oh, it says, there's no God in the heavens. The woman says, forgive me. And the father says, you expect me to forgive you for your mistake? Then the woman says, forgive me, Father. No. And the father says, no. And the ISIS member says, forgive her. And forgive the father. I'm sorry, but my heart won't let me. And then the girl says, God forgive me. And then someone says, hopefully God forgives you, but I won't. Oh, that's the dad saying. Here's the dad here. There's the ISIS member. And there she is, pleading her cause. Yeah. Then the woman says, God forgive me. It means Allah forgive me, because I don't say God. I don't want to say God for Allah. You know what I mean? Then the father says, hopefully God forgives you, but I won't. ISIS member says, the Lord is more merciful than us all. Allah willing, you will be rewarded for forgiving her. She is going to die. Please forgive her. The father says, my heart won't let me. The woman says, please, Father. And the father says, don't call me Father. The ISIS member says, okay, but forgive her. Tell her you do. And the father says, fine, I forgive you. Then the ISIS member says, okay, that's it. The woman says, hold my hand, Father. And then the father says, yeah, I won't do. And then the ISIS member says, dear sister, now that we are on the verge of implementing one of Allah's punishments, what do you want to say? What advice do you have? Say your last words before you leave this world for the next. Go ahead. Then the woman says, I advise every woman, the ISIS member says, speak up. I advise every woman to guard her chastity as much as she guards her life. You know what chastity is? It's guard her farjaha, which is her vagina. Which, according to the Quran, is something that Allah and its angel or spirit blew into Mary to get Mary pregnant with the son, Jesus, of whom Allah denies fathering. And the ISIS member says, good. And then the father says, why didn't you? And the mom says, enough with that. Then I advise fathers that when they marry their daughters off, they should examine to what environment they send them. Yeah, the ISIS member says, don't leave your women leave your women alone beyond the period designated by the Sharia. Return to Allah, brothers, and take care of your wives. ISIS member says, this is a message to the married men from a married Muslim woman who was... How much time do I have left here? I still have some time. Better hurry up though, I'm running out. Okay. And then what happens is she keeps on saying, forgive me, forgive me. And then it says, if you leave your wives alone for a year, 2 years, or even 3 years, what will happen to those women? Satan will toy with them as he pleases. Return to Allah, brothers, and take care of your wives. The one says, forgive me, forgive me. The ISIS member, forgive me. He keeps on saying, forgive me. Then ISIS member says, tie her up. Put the blanket on her head. Shake, tie her up. Say there is no God but Allah. Say that there is no God but Allah. Say there is no God but Allah. And I forgive and I ask forgiveness from Allah. We now begin the implementation of the first stoning punishment for adultery in the rural area east of Hama. And the woman is pelted to death with large stones by her father and the men surrounding her. And guess what? The dad cast the first stone. And if you want to see this, you go to Pamela Geller's Atlas Shrugged, and you'll see it. It's pretty gruesome and horrible. But you want to know something? Although the Quran doesn't mention stoning, because according to the Hadith, a goat ate away a part of the Hadith that had the stoning verse in it, the verse of stoning, and ate away a part of the Quran that allowed grown men to suckle the breasts of women to keep down temptation. There is a Hadith that mentions stoning. But you know something? Even though the Quran doesn't have stoning, there is Quran 1874 through 81, where an innocent youth is killed by a traveling companion of Moses, just by fearing that the boy will, quote, grow up to quote, disappoint parents and show ungratefulness toward Allah. In other words, the boy is innocent. Of course, there's a Hadith where the boy is cut, and you see a thing on his back that shows that he'll grow up to be bad. But the thing is, they don't know it, because it says the traveling companion Moses and the parents fear that the boy will grow up to disappoint parents or show ungratefulness toward Allah, and that's why he killed the boy. And the very next verse says that the parents of the boy were trusting that Allah could provide them with another boy that was more close in affection, you know. But anyway, it's Quran 1874 through 81 that opens the door to this evil, where the men will slit the throats of their father, of their daughter, if they think she's getting too westernized. And what happened here? Pretty girl, didn't matter if she was pretty or not. He cast the first stone at her. Yep, I can see. Look at that, beautiful girl. Now dead by